What is up, guys? Welcome back to racingnews.com and welcome to our Kentucky Derby pace analysis. All right, let's get to it. Going to do a quick pace analysis video before we get on to the picks that'll happen in another video. So I just kind of broke it down how I saw it. I looked at several different pace kind of metrics to kind of decide this. I'll kind of talk about each horse, where I think they're going to land, where I think one might be able to switch a category or another. So I'll just go to it right here. This is nothing fancy, as you can see it just on a spreadsheet. Hey, let's put them on there and let's just discuss it. Again, I'm not trying to be fancy with this video. I'm just trying to get to the bottom line of it all. So obviously the big key here, how much speed will there be? What will the pace actually be? I'll give you kind of what I project is going to happen here towards the end, and we'll talk it over now on maybe why. So I don't think there's any secret who the 5 speed horses are that they pretty much, if they don't need the lead, they need to be close to the lead. Citizen Bull, Neoquist, Rodriguez, East Avenue, Owen Almighty. Those are the ones, right? Citizen Bull draws the rail. You got to think he's going to go. If he breaks well, I think he's going. So I think we can count on that. Again, all things being equal, the big equalizer is the break. And if they don't break well, then all of a sudden all this kind of will go out the window. And you can bet there'll be one or two that don't, but we got a lot. Citizen Bull right here, that's one for him. Neoquist, I really, the more pace metrics I look at, the more I study this horse. I think they're just going to send him to the front since he's drawn the outside. Rodriguez, I think we know now they're going to try to send him. East Avenue, I think that's kind of a given. They're going to try to send him. I would say, though, as we get to the end of the category here, assuming, again, they all break well, the 4 I just mentioned are going to the lead. I kind of look at it as Citizen Bull, Rodriguez, East Avenue. They're probably most likely to be the 3 on the lead. Neoquist probably right there, maybe a little bit behind him. I think Owen Almighty is the only one that's interesting because from the 20 hole, he's a horse that, I don't think any of us think really can get a mile and a quarter. His trainer's on record of saying we're not going to go. The owners say we're going to the front. He's not. He's just a different horse when he's not on the lead. I don't really know. He's drawn like I said, he's drawn the 20, and also the trainer doesn't really want to run, I don't think, in the race. So could he kind of just instruct the jockey and maybe just kind of wrap up on this horse a little bit? I would not rely on Owen Almighty setting this pace. I don't know that he's legitimately going to be part of it. I think you could slide him over to the stalkers category, and I wouldn't be surprised. I've got him in the speed category based on his metrics. I could slide him over to the stalker real easy. So let's get to the stalkers here. And could we slide one of these over to the speed? And I think American Promise is a horse that certainly you might be able to slide Owen Almighty over to the stalkers. I think American Promise could come over to the speed category. He's had some very fast works. He has not raced since the middle of March. It was March 15th when he won the Virginia Derby. He might be keen in this race. He might break and go. He's also drawn inside. I could see him pushing the pace. Even if Owen Almighty does, I could definitely see American Promise as well, or maybe we flip-flop those two. So you're talking 5 horses that I see flash a lot of speed and a 6th horse that is definitely capable of doing it. I just think this is setting up to be a very, very fast Kentucky Derby. I think the speed drawing to the inside is also a huge thing as well. If the speed spread out a little bit or they're all to the outside, that makes a difference. All inside, it just feels like these horses are going to go. The other horse in the stocking category is Grande. I really feel, though, the more pace metrics I look at, he's more likely, if he's going to switch categories, to be in the middle of the pack category than he is in the speed category. I do not think he's going to have anything to do with the front end of this. So I almost put him in the middle of the pack, but he does have a little bit more speed than some of those middle of the pack runners that I put. So I put him in the stocking category. But I think what you're going to get here, these horses in these first 2 categories, again, 1 or 2 of them may not break well. Maybe they try to be conservative with one or something like that. But I think there's enough there. There's 7 horses there. I think there's enough for we can safely assume we're going to have a pretty hot pace in this one. Middle of the pack runners, we'll go over them real quick. Luxor Cafe, Wouldn't be shocked if he's in the closer category. Would kind of be shocked if he's up in the top, with the stock and the speed. But, if he's going to change categories, it might be the closer. Journalism, probably. I mean, the way he's broke, he probably should be kind of top of the middle of the pack or the back of the stalkers. Like, that's probably where he's going to land. Burnham Square, probably they're the middle of the pack. And Cold Battle, I think we've seen. Wouldn't be shocked if Cold Battle is kind of moved up to a stalking position either. We've seen him be able to do it in the past, but, most likely middle of the pack. And then these closers, I'll read them. Final Gambit, Admire Daytona, Flying Mohawk, Publisher, Tistastic, Render Judgment, Sandman, Sovereignty, Chunk of Gold. It would be a pretty big change of tactics if these horses just aren't closing from way out of it. So that's a long list this year of horses that are going to come from out of it. And that could cause a little bit of, a clog up towards the back, right? There's a lot of horses coming from way out of it. I think the ones that move a little early might be beneficial because, I think there's going to be some horses get some pretty wide trips from the back because that's just a lot of them back there going to want to make a move there. So I also think with this setup, if we do indeed have 11 drop towards the back without much speed, those stalking / mid-pack horses that in that group here of 6 for the stalkers in the mid-packs, the ones that can settle, and let's assume it's a hot pace and settle and they're not chasing, I don't think they're going to have a ton of horses around them. Let's just take Journalism, for example, because he's the favorite. If the 11 horses that we assume are going to drop out of this thing, and again, if 1 or 2 of them don't, it would kind of be a surprise. They're pretty consistently closing. You just let the speed go out there. And if you're a Journalism, a Cold Battle, a Burnham Square, aren't you kind of just racing right there, kind of in the pocket, maybe 4, 5, 6 links off the leaders, but maybe 2 or 3 links ahead of the closers in the perfect spot? I mean, I kind of think as we look at this, that middle of the pack might be where you want to be in this one, especially if the pace does materialize like we think. So I kind of think the middle of the pack runners or Grande as a stalker, even American Promise as a stalker, I think they're going to be sitting in a wonderful spot. And I think the key is going to be for these horses, the jockey's going to need to judge the pace and not move early. I think when I look back at what happened in the Rich Strike year, Epicenter and Zandon, they may have moved a little early and got a little tired, and that allowed one of the closers from the back who kind of waited to make the move and get them. And that could happen again. We've got some good closers in the race, but boy, it really just seems to me that those middle pack runners are going to set a real clean trip, maybe cleaner than some Kentucky Derbies that we see. All right, let's again, though, go back now. I was going to say, here's kind of the prediction of what I'm going to see, or what I think we're going to see is what I should say. It feels to me like a pressured low 46 and change type of half mile here in the Kentucky Derby. It just feels like that. It feels like a 110 and change 6 furlong mark here. I think it's going to be pressured. I just don't know that a horse gets out in front unless they're setting fractions that are just way too fast and they get into like the 45-second half mile range. Then I think you can, but you look at this, there's just too many of them, and there's too many of them drawn to the inside. I think, the one thing that I will say, what if Citizen Bull doesn't break well and Neoquist doesn't break well? Because they are inside, and if they don't get out of the gate well, and again, I'm not suggesting that's going to happen. I'm suggesting if they kind of don't break just real sharp, there is a possibility they could get shuffled back. And all of a sudden, maybe a horse like Rodriguez and East Avenue, maybe they're out there a little bit easier than we thought. Maybe they're a little bit better situation than we thought. So that is the one possibility of things that could kind of swing it in the favor of a speed horse. Those 2 horses drawn to the inside must get out of the gate well and must get that early positioning. But with that being said, the jockeys know that. So if they do break decent enough, they're going to send them. And therefore, the pace is probably going to be hot. So I'm projecting a pretty hot pace here. Like I said, 46 and change, a pressured 46 and change is what I'm looking at for the half mile. 110 and change, and like I said, it's like 110 and 2, something like that for the 6 furlong mark. And again, I don't think these speed horses get much of a breather. there's just enough of them there to where I think it's going to materialize. So I'm projecting a hot pace for the Derby. I think middle of the pack runners, as that's where you want to kind of select from. I think they're the ones that are going to get the best trips. And I do think the closers will have a shot. Now, that I say, hey, I kind of prefer the middle of the pack runners this year. The closers would be the second category, right, that we're looking at. So if you like anybody in that closer, which, I mean, hell, that's a lot of horses. I'm not narrowing down too damn many when I say that. But, that's I just think I think it's very unlikely we see a horse in the top flight go on and win the race. I just think it's going to melt down this year. It's just all the signs are there. So we'll see what happens, guys. But it's going to be very interesting to see this, this setup and see, what category as we, maybe we'll go back on Sunday or Monday and reanalyze this and go, okay, which category did we have these horses in? Which one did it come from, and see if we're right or wrong. So, all right, that's going to do it for this video. I am projecting a hot pace for the Kentucky Derby. Thanks, everybody, for watching this video. Hit that like button if you like it. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted time we do videos like this. Most importantly, stay tuned to the channel. We've got some previews coming up for the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby, and we've got great live shows for you pretty much almost every day this week. So it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next time.